Hey guys, welcome to this week's Dvar Torah, and this week's parasha is Parashat Vayikra. So the main topic we're going to focus on from this week's parasha is this idea of sacrifices. Now, it doesn't sound that exciting, but we're going to look at the concept of a sin offering and this idea that when you've committed a sin, you need to rectify it by offering an animal as a sacrifice to God. The first question to ask is, who is responsible for giving a sin offering? And the Torah explains that everyone must give a sin offering whenever they sin. So that means that if you are a member of the High Court or if you are a regular citizen, it doesn't make a difference. So you don't get held to different standards. If you make a mistake, you have to be held accountable, and that's a really important point. We're all equal in that respect. The next big question is, when do you have to give a sin offering? So, anytime you sin, you're required to give a sin offering. And why do they do that? Because they're trying to show you that whenever you do a sin, you have to rectify it. You have to actually make up for your sin. So, maybe the sin you did was something emotional, not something physical, but you have to respond by giving a physical sacrifice to God. And of course, the final question is, what do you actually have to sacrifice? So there's a long list of different animals that you could sacrifice to God. And in specific cases, you may have to sacrifice a particular animal. But it's important to note that depending on your financial situation, you would be able to sacrifice a different animal depending on what you could afford. So we've looked at who gives the sacrifice, we've looked at when they have to give the sacrifice and what they actually have to give. But how can we understand this in a modern context? For many years, I found it really difficult to help my parents around the house, and they'd ask me to do different chores, empty the dishwasher, walk the dogs, pull up the blinds, things like that. And I always ignored them and was, behaving pretty disrespectfully to my parents. And eventually it sort of ticked with me, and my response to that sin was by changing my attitude towards it and actually pulling my weight and helping my parents around the house. So I think despite the fact that the parasha focuses on this sort of out-of-date concept of sacrifices and sin offerings, I think we can take a really important message from it. If we're sinning and we've realized that we've sinned, how are we going to rectify that? And that could be by doing something as simple as recognizing our sin and starting to put in a plan of attack to make up for our sins. So that was a quick look at this week's parasha, Parashat Vayikra. Shabbat Shalom.